Hey, thanks for sticking with the Scores MMA show. This is Canada's Mixed Martial Arts Authority. And earlier this week, the two men responsible for a new mixed martial arts documentary focusing on Canadians George St-Pierre and David Loiseau stopped by the Score studio for a chat. And I'm joined now by the men responsible for the Striking Truth documentary, producer-director Stephen J. Wong, executive producer James Hergott. How are you guys doing?
Very well, sir.
All right, well, let's get started with your partnership. How did you guys come together and make this documentary?
I actually was helping filmmaker Bobby Razek up in Montreal. He's doing a whole campaign for the clothing brand Echo to get MMA legalized in New York and then, of course, in Ontario. So we were up there interviewing fighters and so forth. And I had always wanted to do a 3D MMA project because it just lends itself to that type of medium. So, you know, just it's an exciting sport and 3D makes it even more exciting. So Bobby and I had been talking about it for some time. And of course, being that I'm Canadian, I really wanted to work with George St-Pierre. So we were at TriStar Gym in Montreal and we talked to David Loiseau, and he says, you got to check out this trailer for this project that I've been working on. And this is something that Steven shot, and I was really blown away with some of the footage and some of the stuff he captured. So I said, you know, I'm coming down to Toronto to spend time with my family. I got to meet this guy. And things just kind of, you know, snowballed from there.
Stephen, why did you choose to shoot this particular subject?
Actually, David approached me. He had the idea, and him and George talked, and they approached me to shoot it. And when I got the opportunity, I'm like, yeah, sure. But you know what? This is more than just an MMA documentary. This is a story about two fighters, about two friends, and we can take it to the next level. This is going to be the next Rocky story.
How much access were you given to both fighters?
100% access. Behind the scenes, in their homes, all the, you know, this is a human story. So, you know, we get to see and meet and know these guys. So this is a movie more for the mainstream audience, not just a MMA fan. The mixed martial arts fan will love this. The hardcore fan will love this because they can apply this to their own careers and find out how to become successful and make it all the way. But for the general audience, they'll love it. This is a Rocky story.
Well, mixed martial arts has obviously exploded in popularity thanks to the success of the UFC and whatnot. There have been a lot of documentaries, a lot of movies even now done on MMA. How does this one differ from other projects that pertain to mixed martial arts?
This is a human story. So we find out about David and his trials and tribulations, working his way back up to the UFC after he's released. And George, you know, when you're on top of the world, you're the world champion, there's a lot of struggles that come along with that. But, you know, outside of the octagon, there's a lot of stuff that become obstacles when you become a person of his status.
Now, James, obviously one way it will differ, you talked about it already, 3D. How are you going to incorporate 3D into this thing?
Well, actually, the Avatar, there's a lot of movies coming out with 3D. This is really the future, just like HD, you know, is something everybody's familiar with now. A few years ago, maybe people, you know, it was something new. Well, with Hannah Montana coming out in 3D and My Bloody Valentine, which made $50 million, we've got the editor from that working on our project. And I've had some really good discussions with the people that are involved at the highest levels with this technology. And they're telling me when they film 3D that it's really the most exciting sport that they've captured in 3D. It just lends itself to it. And in fact, if you were to do a scripted movie, it wouldn't work in 3D because you'd be able to tell that they're not making contact. So doing a documentary and actually having some real fights in there is perfect for it.
So you're using it for the fight scenes. It won't be entirely shot in 3D.
We can't obviously use it for George St-Pierre, but for David Loiseau. And we could take some of the editing and add 3D touches to what's already been filmed. And you know, we can't give away too many secrets, but I can tell you it's really groundbreaking stuff.
What about other bells and whistles that you can share with us in terms of just capturing the viewer's attention with this thing?
Well, a couple things. One, we've got Bobby Razek involved, who he does all the tap out commercials. I've worked with him on a few projects. Both Bobby and I have been really involved in MMA on a lot of different projects. So, you know, we have a love and a passion for the sport, and I think that's going to come through. And Bobby's got a great visual style. So when you add the story and then you add making it look great, And then you have the fact that, in my opinion, one of, if not the top MMA stars in George St-Pierre. And we're not just talking a star in terms of, you know, being very talented, which of course he is, but also a star in that he's got a crossover appeal. This is a guy that's a really genuine person that, you know, he's clean cut. He gives great interviews, very humble. So he's a really great ambassador for the sport.
Are there going to be any things that shock us in this documentary?
Let me give you one scene, a taste of one scene. So it's George and I and as I said, when I'm with George and David, I'm very close, very good friends with these guys. So it's almost like the camera's not there. And one day it was just George and I. He's like, hey, you want to shoot my house? I'm like, yeah, sure. So we show up at his house, and he starts giving us a tour of his house. So we go through his living room, his dining room, his fireplace and mantle, his UFC belts there. And he's like, you know, this is my UFC belt. Tell us about it. There's a replica London taxi cab that he got from Dana White, and it's got his picture on it. It's a real deal, right? So he's telling us about that and how much it means to him. And then we go into his, you know, high-end kitchen. It's a custom home, fancy kitchen, saltwater pool, media room, plasma TV, surround system, the leather couches, and go into the master washroom. There's jets flying over the wall, shower heads everywhere, right? Then we go into his bedroom. He's like, you know, I'm not a materialistic guy. You know, all this stuff doesn't really mean that much to me. The thing that means the most in my life, that I value the most, it's not my UFC belt, it's not my car, it's not my house, it's not my plasma. It's this right here. And I can't tell you what it is. So when it comes out in theaters, you'll see.
Cliffhanger. Okay, interesting.
But right there, that scene defines George St-Pierre. And let me tell you right now, ladies, bring your Kleenex, because you guys will be bawling after.
Quick reminder that The Striking Truth will be released sometime in 2010.